I made some changes to my business recently, and I want to talk about why I think they were not a good idea and how I'm going to try to change them. If you're new here, I make art like this, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about. So I'm packing up an order here, and these are 4 metal frames. These are all individual pieces that go on the back side of a print, and that's what keeps it steady, and this is how you hang it on the wall. I buy these from China in individual pieces, and I kind of want to talk about them today because they're the essence of one of my problems. To give you an idea of what they look like, this is the back side. So it looks super nice, it's very professional, and this is what I've done for basically the past 1.5 to 2 years, ever since I got started. This is what I've used to mount all of these pictures on the wall. I'm going to talk about the changes that I've made recently, why I don't really like them, and how I plan to change them moving forward. So recently I started changing the way I make my prints. On the back side, I used to use the aluminum frames that I just showed you, and I've since recently switched to magnets and a smaller, less expensive hanger. Now the reason for this is because those aluminum hangers are very expensive to buy. Material from China in and of itself is just expensive due to the shipping. The price itself is not expensive, but when you have to ship something, what I've recently found, maybe it's just the way I go about things because I'm smaller, but typically the shipping is almost the exact same price as your order value. So if I spend $1,000 on frames, my shipping is also another $1,000. Now you take into account when it gets here, you also have to pay import and duty fees, taxes, whatever else that comes with that. You don't always know what it's going to be. I don't know how to calculate it, but it's usually pretty high. If you spend a couple $1,000s from China, your import and duties are at least going to be a couple hundred. That's what it's been before all of these tariffs have hit recently. I don't know if tariffs affect the frames that I buy at all. They may not. I just recently bought magnets from China and I was not hit with anything. They did not charge me whatsoever. Normally, if you ship something through FedEx, DHL, when it gets to border customs, you get a text from them, basically a invoice that says, pay this, pay here, and until you pay it, your stuff will not be released. Once you pay it, you're good to go. You just put your credit card in. It's pretty simple. Now, here was my thinking behind this and why I don't think it was a great idea. I was sick of paying a bunch of money for these frames. It was kind of hard to stay in stock, and you just deal with that issue of always being out of stock. You can't do orders when you're not in stock. And on top of that, the high cost of materials when you order. All of that just started to get kind of annoying, and I didn't like it. I felt like I was always spending a lot of money to not make that much, which I don't know if that was actually as true as I thought it was. So recently I purchased magnets. They were these smaller hangers, then we adhesive a small mount to the back of it. You can hang it on the wall. It's pretty simple. It's been done before. You can look at a company like Display or Metallics. They do something somewhat similar. I tried to change it a little bit. I used a different hanger on the back so you don't stick it on the wall with adhesive. You actually hang it with a nail. Something unique, but I actually don't like it that much. We went from a very professional, nice looking frame that was more expensive to basically downgrading into a magnet/plastic hanger, just a block on the back. And I don't think it looks as good. It took away from what I think the quality should be, and I don't like it, but I'm not really sure how to fix it yet. I added a design on the back side as well, like some of the other companies have done, because I thought it would add more of this uniqueness to it. I don't think that was true. I don't think it was a good idea. I changed my small logo that I actually thought looked pretty professional. I always printed it right in the middle. It was nice and clean and looked great. And I did a big design on the back. And I don't really like it. Again, I feel like it almost took the uniqueness and specialty out of it and brought it down to like this mid-grade look of just competing and playing the same game as everyone else. And I don't agree with that. And so I do plan to change that. I'm not really sure how yet because due to the way the hangers are, I have to switch up the logo, but I want to minimize the design on the back. And I'll show you what the design looks like because you may like it, you may not. I thought I liked it in the beginning and I don't now. So that's kind of how some of these decisions work. You just try something, you see if you like it. At first you might, and then as you move forward, you're like, no, this isn't a good idea. So now we're here, we've got these magnets with a design on the back, and basically we are looking very similar to the other popular companies. Now, the way I had frames before are also no different than some of the other metal print companies as well. They do the same frames. They're not as well known though, they're not as big and popular, probably for various reasons, but nonetheless, I've decreased what I feel like is the product quality quality overall. And with that, I lowered the price of the product. Now I was able to do this because it cost me less to make it, right? If I don't have those frames, I save quite a bit of money by buying the mounts on the back with magnets. It's much less expensive. I've also done away with a lot of sizes. So I have one size right now. It's 12 by 18 inches, and it's the only one that you can buy, technically. I still have a bunch of other stuff that I sell on the side outside of the website, but more or less, there's one size on my website, and I wanted to keep that simple. Now, I really like that, actually. I think that was a good idea, is keeping things simple. My plan was just to take one, get everything set up around it really great, make that product really amazing, and then add a couple more sizes in the future. Maybe like set that as a medium and then have a large and an extra large, something along those lines. I don't want to have 4,000 different sizes. I just want to have a couple that I do really, really well. But what I don't like is the idea of lowering your prices to compete and play the same game as everyone else, lowering the quality of your product as well just to play that game. I don't think that's a good idea. I think what I should have done was either raise prices or just find a better supplier for the frames that I could get at a better deal, or just suck it up and deal with what it is, which is it's expensive and not always easy to get, and you're not going to sell as many, which is the method that I like doing anyways. I don't want to build a business where I sell a billion things that are 45 bucks and they're cheaper quality, but everyone can have them and it is what it is. I don't think that's a product you fall in love with. I don't think that's a great product. What I want to build is something that is probably more expensive than most things on the market, but it's also better quality. The experience is better. Just the overall process of everything is better. Now, I don't think that's easy to do. I think it takes building a brand online. I think that takes many years to actually really establish yourself in something, but if you can figure it out, it's completely worth it and a much better way to run things. You're making a great product. It is more expensive, but it's a much better quality and the entire system is just better overall. Because basically what happens is you would have your metal print, which is the same thing overall. I've used the same metal blanks, whether they're the expensive ones or the cheap ones for my prints. I haven't downgraded those. I still use the same brands. On the backside, you have the frames, depending on what you use. That's really going to dictate a lot of the cost. And again, the print, depending on which one you choose, will dictate the cost as well, but it fluctuates a little less because I use pretty much the same thing. If you come down the ladder, basically, it costs you less to make, but you sell it for much less, okay? So your profits, you're just playing in a lower profit game. Therefore, you have to sell a lot more of them to make the same profits as if you were selling something that was somewhat expensive to make, but you sold it for way more. That gap between what it cost you and what you sell it for is just bigger. So you might sell half of them, but you make more profit because it's also less work, it's less material, it's less time and shipping and everything else that goes into it. Something that goes with that is when someone gets a product that is that great, they're more likely to come back. So if you sell them a $45 product, yes, it was cheap, but are they likely to refer you to somebody else, and are they likely to come back themselves? Not as likely. If you sell someone something that is, let's say it's 85 bucks on the cheap end. That's what my prints are right now. I've lowered the price a little bit. Once I fix things, it'll probably go back up. 85 on the cheap end, but if you were at, say, a 20 by 30 inch print, you sold it for $270, but it's an amazing product when they get it. Yes, it is more expensive, but that's also relative to how much money people make and how much they're willing to spend. If someone only has 500 bucks in their account and they spend 270 on it, that's a lot of money to them. If someone has 100,000 and they spend 270, that's basically nothing. So one, numbers are relative, but two, I think raising the prices of a product keeps it high quality. And what it allows you to do is focus on a product in and of itself, focus on the thing that's in front of you instead of worrying about what the next thing is. So if I had to do 10 prints today at 85 bucks, that sounds like good money. But when you have profit margins, your profit margins at the end of the day may not be that great, right? And you spent all this time bouncing from order to order to order. You spent all day making those 10 orders. You never focused on one to make it actually really good and quality specific for that customer. It was just like print it, make it, put it in a box, throw a label on it, and get it out of here. And I'm only making this to help some of you guys maybe work through some of these decisions yourself, because you're probably running into the same scenario where do you want to raise prices and make things more higher end, or do you want to go the much cheaper route? It's going to depend on your audience. It's going to depend on who you're selling to and the way you kind of market yourself and everything like that. So my situation is not going to be your situation. And I don't recommend you just do what I do, because that's not necessarily going to work for you. Something I did not too long ago was throw on my Instagram story. I did a poll. What type of hanger do you want on the back? Should I lower my prices and do the cheaper hanger, or should I stick with the more expensive one? And 75% of people said I should stick with the more expensive one. I didn't listen to that. I actually forgot about it, and then recently had made this big change when maybe I should not have done that. And so it's not necessarily about what you want, it's going to be what your customers want. My customers wanted something a little more higher end. They are willing to pay more for it. And here's the other thing. If people tell you to lower your prices, one, you may not want them as a customer, but two, see if they actually give you their credit card. Because a lot of people will say you should lower your prices, they still won't order from you even if you do. The only true metric at the end of the day is converted sales. Anything less than that really does not count. It doesn't matter. It is not a sale. But think about it like this. If you had a product that you sold for a lot more, it cost you a bit more to make, but you sold it for a lot more. You now have a lot more profit margins to work with to make the experience better and the product better for the customer. You can upgrade packaging, you could pay employees better, you could do better media, better equipment, faster shipping. Everything can get better from this because you have more money to work with. If you're running a business on small profit margins, near nothing, right? It's hard to upgrade things and make things better and have a great place to work. You're just not making the money for it. And so I really like the idea of building slowly, one at a time, kind of customer by customer, by having an amazing product over time where we do actually make profit and can keep making the process better and better over time. So to give you an idea, this is the backside of the print. So this is all the design that's going on. You might like the look of this, right? I think it looks fairly professional. It also looks childish, which I don't like, and here's why. Children don't have money, right? Adults have money, professional adults. Who wants to buy something that's childish? You buy this for your kid, maybe. I wouldn't. And then this is the front side. This is the size that I do, 12 by 18. This is just an image I did for a video. It was really nothing. I actually don't even really like this photo all that much. But this is the hanger on the back. So that's a magnet. It's got the little nail hanger here, so you just hang it on the wall. I don't like adhesive strips because they fall off. And then it just clicks on like that. This is very similar to some of the other companies. It's copying. I don't like it. And so my plan is to do away. Now the issue with getting frames is I don't know where to get them right now. I'm gonna reach out to some suppliers and see what the tariffs might be, if they're even being charged tariffs on those products and how much they're being charged. It just depends. You may not get hit with the 145% tariffs, 200, whatever they're at now. Not a big deal either way. But I'm thinking about doing potentially a large block on the back instead. But I really like metal on metal. I think it's the most professional. I don't love plastic. I don't love the black unless it was covering the entire product, which is not as easy to get. I don't know where to get them. Maybe I can figure that out. But aside from that, this is the product. For now, I don't know if I'll go back to the frames because again, I don't have them at the moment. I don't have any more, but I may have, these are 3D printed. I may get these made bigger to cover up more on the back. I'd like to get something that's maybe 9 by 10 inches, 8 by 10 inches on the back here. I think it would cover a lot of that. It would make it really steady. This would have no bend to it, be really sturdy, and you could hang it on the wall. Also very lightweight. And then this one right here, we'll take this off the wall. These are the frames I use on the back. And you can even see, I actually didn't realize this had this. It says Print Shed Fine Metal Art. This is actually what I like more. I would maybe do something a little bigger, maybe a little more professional looking, but overall, I really like this. It's simple, it's clean, and I like this metal on metal look. It's just professional. These are super solid, super high quality. When you pull these out of the box, I think it's a better experience overall. Like, it's great. I love these. I love giving these to people because every time I do, they love them. And what I'm trying to get at in this video is I don't think you should do away with something that you think is great because it's easier or it's more scalable or whatever you think or what I think really is a better idea, because it's usually not. Like, anytime you deviate from something that was great to something less, you're just gonna be more unhappy about it. Even if you made more money from it, I don't know if it's a good idea. Like, even if I sold way more of the small ones and I was making more money, I don't know if I'd love it as much because I don't love the product as much. Not because it's a bad product, but what you know it can be. That's the real issue. It's not, had I started with just the magnets, I would probably like them a lot more. But I knew what it could be, and so I don't like them as much. It was kind of like my last shop that I had. I was in a warehouse space. But before that, I was in a shop like this that I really liked. So when I moved into the warehouse space, I hated it because I knew what I could have and I knew what was better. Had I moved into that warehouse space straight out of my bedroom where I started working, would have been okay. But it's that comparison. But once you know what is out there that is good, that's available, I don't think you really want to go back from it. I'm trying to document some of this stuff because I want to be able to look back on these decisions I've made and see whether they were good or bad. Now, one thing I want to be clear about is I'm kind of just iterating with the product, right? I'm having issues with the frames that I currently was using, those metal ones, and so I'm trying to find a better solution to them. The new thing I try, I didn't like as much, so now it's going to be on to the next thing, testing it and seeing if I like it. That might be a big block on the back. That might just be finding a new supplier for the metal ones if I can. That may be finding a metal supplier here in Charleston that can make it. I haven't found that yet, and so that's kind of my issue. It's more about price at that point because I can probably find someone that makes extruded metal, but it's finding someone that can cut it perfectly to my sizes that I need for the right price. A lot of them can get very expensive, but I do plan to go around to some of these frame shops and metal shops and see what they can do for me because ordering from China so far has not been that great. I also would love to have everything American made. I know people say like they don't care, whatever. I don't like the idea of buying outside of the US strictly because it's more stressful. Like that is it. I don't like when my things get stuck. I don't like when orders get stuck in customs for a month because FedEx holds it. Sometimes that happens. You submit all the paperwork and they just tell you, yeah, you have to wait. It doesn't matter what you can do. It might take up to a month, and it typically does take 3 weeks to 4 weeks. And I don't like that. It's very stressful every time that happens. So my goal is everything American made over time. I don't know if I'll be there this month. That might be a little bit more difficult. The magnets still come from China as well, but I am doing away with those, I think. The mounts come from California, so that works perfect. I just have a friend that 3D prints them. It's nothing crazy. It's not a company or anything, so I can't really shout that out. But yeah, hopefully this helps. You just get to see the decisions that I make, good, bad, or ugly. There's a community link below if you want to learn how to make these metal prints. If you want to order one, have me make it for you. There's also going to be my website down there. Probably going to be a lot of changes made along the way this year.